they may speak for themselves.
Of course, some of the riders here will be spinning as many as 2 to 2.5 rotations in the pipe, and that's always exciting.
And of course, we talked about it earlier, you want to grab some air. They call them aerials.
That's right, and the biggest air generally wins, and you'll see these guys drawing the fast line to get as much air as they can off of every single jump.
And we'll also be talking about inverted maneuvers, which are really nothing more than handstand maneuvers.
They are not backflips like you'd find in snow skiing. They're sort of a handstand with a twist like this trick here.
As we mentioned, a field of 80 top snowboarders was thinned down to 15 finalists in a grueling battle of aerial and lip assault. The first man to drop in for the final was Noah Brandon of Truckee, California. Noah had turned in some impressive performances in earlier rounds, but was unable to remain consistent through his final run. With 14 of the hottest pipe riders in the world to come, it didn't look promising for Noah. With the chance of a World Cup victory on his mind, Adam Merriman of Boulder, Colorado, entered the pipe only to be picked off in midair by an overexcited spectator. Adam received a rerun due to the interference, but his second attempt at stunning the crowd fell short of his expectations. Not a high score, but he got a mouthful of Breckenridge snow for his efforts. Then, from Long Beach, California, came Jimmy Scott, who dazzled the crowd, both with his crazy antics and his polished aerial attack. His performance placed him as the early leader, but there are still many would-be champions still to come. For instance, Mickey Frew from Zurich, Switzerland, hit the pipe with a flurry of aerial maneuvers that got the crowd and the judges howling for more. Although his routine was impressive, Mickey's score was not enough to put him in the lead, falling just a half point behind Jimmy Scott. So after the first 4 competitors here in the finals, we have Jimmy Scott holding on to the lead, but there are 11 more able-bodied boarders ready to hit the pipe. We've set the stage for the competition yet to come, so now, Fran, our next competitor at the starting gate is this young man. It's Noah Selaznick out of Lake Tahoe, California.
Noah Selaznick currently is one of the only pro snowboarders who's also a pro skateboarder. Noah's been doing so well this year on both tours. He's in the top 10 in both pro snowboarding and skateboarding. And as we see him ride, you can see why. He gets a lot of airtime and is incredibly stylish, and his loose style shows off. A really nice back-to-back flurry of airs there. He's got 3 airs in a row. There's a big backside air. You'll notice now that Noah Selaznick stays really low over his board. This allows him to spring. Now there's a hand plant. That's a skateboarding maneuver. And a 540 pulls it off perfectly. That was a very difficult run to do.
So some of his skateboarding knowledge coming into play here in Breckenridge, Colorado. Very nice run for Noah. A score of 263.0. Up next, out of Bormio, Italy, is Massimo Max Perotti. He's only 20 years of age.
Max Perotti has been one of the top freestylers in Europe, from winning the Italian Cup races to being a very strong force in the Swiss, French, and German competitions. And you'll notice it with Max's style. He gets a lot of airtime off the walls, stays really low and compressed, and is able to spring back-to-back airs. He keeps his speed up very nicely. Now there's a big backside air. This is a really strong run for Max. He's keeping the volume pumped up, and that's important. That's what the judges are looking for. Lots of air, lots of style, and there's a 540. A nice run so far.
Max is a classic study. We talked about it, how speed equates into air, and he's making a nice run on the bottom half of the pipe here.
He sure is. He's able to do his inverted hand plant maneuvers at the bottom, which is a slower trick, and he was able to get it in.
And he exits out of the pipe with his left hand up in victory. He must feel good about this. His score, 264.0. Massimo Perotti is our current leader with 264 points, but there are a lot more to come. We'll continue from the half pipe after this. Everybody to the TDK Snowboard World Cup at Breckenridge, Colorado. Mike Chamberlain and Fran Richards. Women also competing here today. Earlier than Engelrath out of Switzerland. This was her only run we're going to show you, but it was a winning one.
Nicole Engelrath came to Breckenridge to the TDK World Cup last year and placed first, surprised all the American women who'd been competing in the halfpipe all year. And as you watch her style, you can see why she does so well. She does a lot of the difficult aerial maneuvers that the men do and really keeps up her speed. And that's very important in the halfpipe. Well, remember, if you fall in the halfpipe, you lose your speed, and Nicole is very much under control as she flips around here backwards and does a 180 right there. A very difficult maneuver, and there's that layback air. A lot of the tricks that the men do. Nicole looks very strong in the halfpipe.
And at this point, she knew she had it in the bag. Nicole Engelrath out of Switzerland is the women's halfpipe winner. And if you look at the overall standings in the halfpipe, number 5, O'Shea Loftus finished 5th. So that, combined with her parallel slalom win, makes her the overall champion at Breckenridge today. Okay, let's get back to the men's competition. The half pipe is still in progress, and up on the course right now is Camille Brushie out of Switzerland. He's up on the top. He'll drop into this big wall of snow.
Camille is an experienced half-pipe rider. He is currently the Swiss half-pipe champion, and his style is one very strong, very powerful. He really manhandles the walls. You'll notice as he comes in for his first jump here, off the first jump on the wall, he's got quite a bit of air. A very difficult grab there on the edge. That'll score him some points. And a big backside air. Remember, the judges are looking for a lot of power. He's spinned around. He's now riding backwards. And he jumps over a little hole in the snow there on the pipe. That's a very difficult maneuver. And there's that 540, and he lands it so smooth. That was a very fast run.
And very fluid. It was mistake-free snowboarding here in Breckenridge, Colorado. So Camille Brushie will end up with a score of 268.0. He is our new leader on the course right now.
That's a very high score, 268 points. It's going to be tough, but we've got Keith Duckboy Wallace from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, one of the local favorites. Keith is always a crowd pleaser, and in the audience right now, we heard a lot of duck quacking. People say that Keith looks like a duck a little bit, and that's where his name Duckboy came from. We'll see off this first jump, a huge air, very well extended. Very good execution. That's one of the things that Keith Wallace is known for, is his style and execution.
He's very smooth, and a helicopter maneuver there, and rewinds it one more time. Now he's working the back section of this pipe. Oh, and a layback, but he pulls out of it.
That was actually 3 540s in a row. Very difficult, because it's hard to get that twisting up. He slowed down a little bit, but does a very difficult hand plant maneuver at the bottom. A very challenging run for Keith Wallace.
All said and done, it was a very impressive run for Keith. His score, 267.5. That is just a half point off our leader. Up next on the course, Bertrand Dennerod out of Switzerland. He's 20 years of age.
Bertrand is one of the strongest overall riders on the Pro Tour. He's a very good half-pipe rider and an extremely competitive alpine racer. So he's in running for the overall World Cup title. And there's a very big frontside air on the course here. He's seeming to do very well in the half-pipe. Now, right here, he really throws up an extremely high aerial, a surprise to everyone.
It's amazing. You could tell the way he set the tone for this run with that enormous air that he grabbed off the first jump, and he's closing out the pipe right now.
You'll notice that hand plant there is the first lip trick he's done in the whole run. He's gone back-to-back aerials, and that's very difficult to do.
That was some classic snowboarding here in Breckenridge, Colorado, as you watch him grab some of this air that we talked about. And you know what? We have a new leader on the course right now. Bertrand's score, 271.5. He is the leader and how. So here's how it stands with still more competition to come. Nestled in the heart of the Rockies, Breckenridge, Colorado, once a small mining community, is now a winter oasis. We'll be back with more half-pipe competition after this. And so are you to the TDK Snowboard World Cup. We are working the half-pipe over right now at Breckenridge, Colorado. And this is Andy Hetzel out of Tucson, Arizona. Tucson really not known for their great snow.
No, but they're certainly known for famous skateboarders, and Andy Hetzel is one of those. A skateboarder turned snowboarder. He's been incredibly strong on the Pro Tour this year, usually finishing in the top 5 in every single event. He's got a very strong and powerful style also. There's a big half cab, comes around backwards and comes forward, a very difficult maneuver, and a big backside air right there. Here comes Andy Hetzel with a 540, and he lands it very smooth, didn't lose any speed. Over the little bump there they call the channel. Channel air, it's a very difficult maneuver. It's also dangerous. You fall in that channel, get hurt. There's a backside disaster, another skateboard maneuver. That is one of the most difficult lip tricks in the book right now, and follows it up with a hand plant, and a hand plant to fakie, or a hand plant going backwards. Andy's now run out of speed. That'll be all the tricks in the book for Andy Hetzel.
Now he's just doing it for show as he brings the fakie on in, and the crowd giving him a good round of applause here in Breckenridge, Colorado. That's Andy Hetzel out of Tucson, Arizona. Not a bad score. 271.0 is the book on Andy.
Well, this is definitely a skateboarder's half-pipe event.
And it worked well that time for Andy Hetzel out of Tucson, Arizona. Say hi to Todd Richards out of Paxton, Massachusetts. He's only 21 years of age.
This is his second year on the Pro Tour, and he's been incredibly successful. He's also very, very innovative when it comes to snowboard half-pipes. He does a lot of tricks that other riders don't do, and he has a great style. There's a nice big backside air for Todd Richards. Lands almost on the bottom of the pipe, but still keeps up a lot of speed. Very important. There's another air. He's going back-to-back, air to air. There's an air to fakie. Coming up backwards here, goes around. That's what they call a half caballerial. And back in, a good run for Todd Richards. There's a hand plant, very smooth. That slowed him down a little bit, but he's at the bottom of the pipe, so it doesn't matter.
Todd Richards, a pretty good-looking run. I'm just wondering if he got enough air on those aerials. Those are some of the things these guys, the judges, are looking for. As you take a look at Todd Richards, not a bad run. His score, 270.0. Up now, Terje Haakonsen out of Norway, one of the many Europeans here. A lot of Europeans racing because this is one of 3 races to determine the world champion this year.
Now, halfpipe is generally a U.S. sport, but Terje Haakonsen has really turned some heads at 16. He's the youngest guy on the Pro Tour. Surprised everyone last year with a 5th place here in Breckenridge. Terje gets an incredible amount of air, and he's extremely resilient. Very small frame, very good for halfpipe riding. He gets really low, gets a tremendous amount of air. You see there a huge air following it back-to-back, air to air. There's a hand plant. Oh, he slid down the wall a little bit. That's going to slow him down just a tad, but Terje is incredible. I look for this guy in future years to be a world champion. And there's a Phillips 66, a skateboard maneuver. Oh, he's running out of speed, but he is at the bottom of the pipe.
Well, he has time on his side, Fran. He is only 16 years of age. His score, 265.5. Earlier in the day, the men held their dual slalom competition. This bracket, you're looking back to the half-pipe competition. As a matter of fact, we have only 3 competitors remaining. There's the leaderboard, 271.5. Bergeron Dinero is our leader. And wearing the red, white, and blue cap right now, Sean Palmer out of Lake Tahoe, California.
Sean Palmer, known as the bad boy of snowboarding, is famous for his pro-American image and also is one of the pioneers of modern freestyle. Palmer, an incredible free rider, an all-around wild man, gets some of the biggest air of anyone, and has won this half-pipe competition before. So he's someone to watch here in Breckenridge. There he goes around backwards to a forwards air, and there's a big front side air for you. He's keeping his speed up well. He's really got to pump up the volume. Oh, and there's a tremendous 540 right there. Just an incredible trick. He had lots of speed to pull that off. Got to have speed to do those 540s. And he's coming in fakie around backwards. There's a lip trick. A nice run for Sean Palmer from South Lake Tahoe, California.
He cuts an interesting figure in that black uniform. Kind of looks like Darth Vader. The 22-year-old of Lake Tahoe, California had some very confident moves. Probably none more confident than this big backside air. It helped him to 266.5. Not good enough to take the lead. Craig Kelly out of Mount Vernon, Washington is up next.
Craig, the former world champion. You can never count Craig Kelly out of any half-pipe contest. He really has the ability to pour it all on and really perform incredibly under pressure. And Craig needs to do that right now as he drops into the pipe with a tremendous amount of speed. A big frontside air. There's following it up with another backside air. One thing we'll look for in Craig Kelly is he tends to do back-to-back 540 airs. Extremely difficult. Let's see if he does it on this run. Looks like air to air. There's the first 540. Oh, and he had some troubles with it. That's going to cost Craig Kelly a lot of points. It meant a lot less amplitude on the next 540 he did afterwards. I think that was a big mistake for Craig Kelly. That's going to hurt him.
When you get down to this portion of the show, you simply cannot make mistakes, and nobody knows that more than Craig Kelly right now out of Mount Vernon, Washington. It's going to cost him some points, as Fran talked about. His score, 267.0, not even close to our leader right now. That brings us to our last competitor of the day. Think there might be some pressure on Jeff Brushie's shoulders? He's out of Burlington, Vermont. He's only 19 years of age.
Jeff Brushie is the hottest of the East Coast freestylers, and last year he had some trouble in these kind of situations, really had a tough time holding on. This year he's riding extremely well. He's so confident. He thrives on this, and a giant backside air. That's probably the biggest air we've seen right here so far, and he follows it up with a frontside air. He's really staying low. He's got a lot more speed than Craig Kelly, and oh, a huge frontside stalefish air. That's good points, and over the channel with a backside air. He's pulling out all the tricks. Oh, and 540, he's coming in backwards here, and a complete air backwards. And a Phillips 66, that's a very difficult maneuver. Follows it up with a little method air. That was one of the hottest runs I've seen all day. I think Jeff Brushie's going to take it.
He had a choice to make. He could either fold to the pressure here today or respond to it. And Jeff Brushie put on a magnificent half-pipe performance here in Breckenridge, Colorado. There's the score, 272.0. He will be our winner. We'll be back to talk to the men and the women's winners after this. Of the Snowboard World Cup has been brought to you by Mountain Dew. Welcome back to Breckenridge, Colorado, where the results are now final. And Fran, an exciting day of competition is officially in the books.
Well, Mike, Nicole Engelrath dominated the women's halfpipe competition and will take the gold home to Switzerland. And in the men's halfpipe, USA's Andy Hetzel brings home the third-place honors. Switzerland's Bertrand de Nevero, who led the pack right up to the final competitor, pulls down the second-place spot. But giving new meaning to the phrase, saving the best for last, was USA's Jeff Brushie.
All right, so congratulations are in order. Let's begin with the women's winner, Nicole Engelrath's event. I tell you, this half pipe, everything was going right for you today, huh?
Yeah, I had a fun, really big air. I like that.
Was it a good pipe? Was it fast? Was it everything you hoped it would be?
It's a really narrow pipe. It's really hard to ride, but it was great. It turned out great. We fixed it up.
Well, Jeff, congratulations. I guess it's on to Japan, the third stop on the tour. You're on your way, I suppose?
Yep, we go to Japan, and on the way, a little vacation in Hawaii.
Oh, you got to like that. All right, congratulations. And Nicole, too. Congratulations to both of them. For Fran Richards, I'm Mike Chamberlain. Thanks for joining us on ESPN from Breckenridge, Colorado. Bye-bye, everybody. Crew accommodations have been provided by the Breckenridge Hilton.